Hello everyone, my name is Vivek and this is my next video on averages. I'm very happy to see you guys again after a very long time in this quarantine period. I really believe that all are safe at your homes with your loved ones and you're taking care of them as well and also yourselves. So please be safe and stay at home and please make sure you're also making it worthwhile by watching videos like this and also making sure that you're spending some time on reading some stuff and also keeping yourself relaxed. So make proper use of this time. So let's get started with our video. So in this video, we're going to look into the concept called averages. So let's get started with our video. We are not going to use a traditional technique which we normally use to solve averages here. We're going to use a technique which would be slightly different from the traditional technique, but I'm very confident that could be much easier than the traditional technique that we're using. So let's get started. So let's take the average of three numbers. We'll take three random numbers. Firstly, three numbers as 10, 12, and maybe what else do we get? Maybe a 17. So I'll take the average of these three numbers. So I take 12, 10, 12, and 17. The average of three numbers, normally what we do is 10 plus 12 plus 17 divided by 3. Instead, I'm going to do something else here. We know all the three numbers here have 10 in it. Yes, it has 10 in it. This has 10 in it, and this also has 10 in it. So we know 10 is present in all the three numbers. So I'll take 10 as one reference. Along with that, these two numbers has something extra in it. That is, this number has 12, which means this has 2 extra, and this number is 17, so it has 7 extra. So in total, we have 9 extra apart from the actual of 10 which is present in all the three numbers. This 9 gets splitted among all the three numbers now because that 9 is extra. So all three numbers gets divided by 3. All three numbers, because three numbers are present, it gets divided among all the three numbers. So it gets 3 extra. Along with that 10, we get 3 extra. So our average is going to be 13. A very simple technique. A very simple technique. If people are not able to understand what I'm telling you, I'll explain you one more time. So it's the three numbers 10, 12, and 17. I'm going to take one at a time. So I'm taking one number, the smallest among the three numbers, because all the three numbers will contain that. So which means 10 is present in all the three numbers. Along with that, there are two other numbers which has something extra. That is, the second number has 2 extra in it, the third number has 7 extra in it. So in total, it has 9 extra. So that 9 now gets divided among three numbers. So that's when we get 9 divided by 3 gets you 3 as an average, which is divided among all the three numbers. So that's why the newest and new average is going to be 10 plus 3, which is 13. A very simple technique. Probably many may ask me, why 10? Why don't I take 17? Very simple. You could still take it as 17. Maybe I'll do it once again. Maybe if I take it as 17, 10, 12, and 17, and if I take it as 17, why don't I take the reference as 17? Take it as 17, and this number, these two numbers are much lesser than that. All that we have to do is, this is how much less is this? Minus 5, and how much less is that? Minus 7. So in total we have 12 lesser. So this 12 less will also be divided among all the three numbers. So we know all the three numbers, if it gets divided, 12 divided by 3 gives you 4. So this 4 gets subtracted from the actual average. So which gives you 17 minus 4, which is nothing but 13. Again, a simple technique. All I'm telling you is, like, take a number at random, that is 17, and see how much is this. The second number lesser, it's minus 5. The third number is minus 7. So we get minus 12. So this minus 12 divides among three numbers, which gives minus 4. So it gets reduced from the average. 17 minus 4 is 13. Very simple technique. Few may still ask me, why not 12? So for your case, I'm still doing it for 12. 10, 12, and 17. I take the number as 17, 12 itself now. So in this 12, if I take it, this is minus 2, which is 2 lesser, and this is 5 more. So in total, we have 5 minus 2 is going to be 3. We have 3 extra. 3 is extra. So this 3 gets divided among three numbers as 3 divided by 3 gives you 1. So the average gets added by 1. So which means the reference is 12 plus 1 is nothing but 13. Newest average is 13. Whatever technique we're going to use, it's going to be the same. Whatever number we're going to choose, it's going to be the same. Going to be the same. This looks very, very simple. I mean, at times looks a bit Initially it looks a bit confusing, but when you start using it, this comes in handy for very vital questions, very big questions, and you would become very smart in using this technique. Let's get started with some questions. Probably you understand this concept even better when I start solving more questions. So the first question says, average age of 10 persons learning yoga is 32 years. When the age of the instructor is added, the average becomes 34 years, which means there are 10 people. Each have the average of those 10 people is 32, which means each may be 32, 32, 32, 32, 32, or else each may have different numbers, but still the average is coming to 32. We could still take it as 32, 32, 32. So when the age of the instructor is added, the average becomes 34. For how many people? Instead of 10 people, there's one more person is getting added. So all 11 people are becoming 34 now. So which means from 32, all are jumping by 2, 2, 2, 2. How many people are jumping by 2? 11 people are jumping by 2. So the age of the instructor is. So we very clearly know here the instructor is bringing in that extra age, because that person's age should be definitely more than 32 and should also contribute for all the 11 people. It's contributing for all the 11 people for 2. So which means it should be much higher in age. His age should be much larger. We're going to solve how so we can see how we could solve this question now. So firstly, average age of 10 persons learning yoga is 32 years. So 10 people's age is 32. So each person is having 32, 32 in them. So we will take it as 32, 32, 32 for 10 people. So it can be different for each person, but still, since they say it's average is going to be common for all people. So 32, 32, 32. We could still take it as 32 for all 10 people. Now, when one more person is added, the average has become 34, which means the 11th person should also have 32. Along with that, he should have extra. So let me assume he is also having 32. Along with that, he is having something extra. We're not sure how much is he having extra, but they have told from 32, it has jumped to 34 after his inclusion, which means it has jumped to 34 after his inclusion for all the 11 people. All 11 people, so which means plus 2, plus 2, plus 2 for each person. So which means all 11 people are getting 2 extra, 2 extra, 2 extra, 2 extra, 2 extra. So obviously for 11 people, if I get 2 extra, they have the normal basic average of 32. Along with that, they're getting 2 extra, which means 22. So which means that person has brought 22 extra along with the actual average. The actual average is 32. So his average should be 2 plus 2 is 4 and 2 plus 3 is 5. So his age should definitely be 54. So his age is 54. That's why apart from 32, whatever he's having 22 extra, that's getting shared among all 11 people. That is how this average works. If you use the traditional technique, all that you have to do is 10 into 32 is 320. Then you'll use this 11 into 34 is giving you 374. When you subtract all these both, you get the answer as 54. That may be traditional, but it sounds simple for this question. But for few questions, it sounds really hard and the calculation becomes bigger. That's why I'm using this technique, which can be very simple when you start mastering this technique. So let's get started with the next question. So our next question is, average weight of a class of 24 students is 35. A very simple question, similar to the previous question. Average weight of a class of 24 students is 35. So 24 students have 35. If the weight teacher is included, average rises by 400 grams, which means the 25th person gets added, average rises by 0.4 kg, 0.4 kg for all 25 people. So the weight of the teacher is very similar technique to the previous question. And this time around, we need not use this the previous technique of taking some time. We'll just take this and we'll directly do this. 24 people have the average as, it's very clearly given there. I'm sorry about this. 24 people have the average as 24 people have the average as 35. Weight of the teacher is included. It becomes 0.4 grams increased. So 24 people average is 35. So the 25th person is added. All people are getting 0.4 extra, which means that 25 people are also getting 0.4 extra, which means it will be 20.4, 0.4, 0.4, 0.4, 0.4 for 25 people, which means that person is bringing 25 into 0.4 extra, which is nothing but 10 kg extra along with the actual of 35 kgs, which was present for all 24 people. So age is weight is going to be 35 plus 10 kg, which is going to be 45 kgs. A very simple technique. 24 people add 35 in them, so it's 35, 35, 35, 35, and one person gets added, so the entire average gets added by zero point 0.4. So which means for all 25 people, it's getting 0 0.4 extra. So 0 0.4, 0 0.4 for 25 people, so that's why it's 0.25 into 0 0.4, which is 10 kg extra. The 10 kg extra is brought by that person who is having the actual average of 35. Along with that, he is having that 10 kg extra. That's where it's getting shared among all people. By now, you should have got the concept correct. That is, anything that is brought in extra by people, anything that is taken extra apart from the actual average, it gets shared among all the number of people present in the group. So similar, so that is how average works. So let's see, look at the third question. A batsman makes a score of 84 runs in his 21st innings, thus increases his average by 2 runs. His average after the 21st innings is, again, keeping this very simple, 84 runs is scored in 21st innings. So he has scored 84 in his 21st innings, because of which the average increases by 2 runs. So we should understand something, that 84 he had scored more, he had scored some runs more than the actual average. That's why the average gets increased by 2 runs for all 21 people. So if it is increased for by 2 runs for all 21 people, so then his actual average should have been different, and after this innings it is getting added by 2 runs for all 21 innings. So let's have to find the average now. So 84 runs in the 21st innings, so thus his average is increased by 2 runs. So his average is getting increased by 2 runs means, so in 21st, after the 21st innings, he scores 84 in his 21st innings. So till 21st innings, his average was different. Because he scored 84, the average gets increased by 2 runs for all 21 innings. So 21 into 2, which means he had scored 42 extra. This is extra. He had scored extra apart from his actual average. So that is why his average is increased by 2. So which means the actual average would have been 84 minus 42, because this 42 is extra which is scored by him. That is only getting shared. So the actual would have been 42. This is till the 20th innings. Till the 20th inning, he would have scored 42 was his average. Now after the 21st innings, his average is increased by 2. So 42 plus 2, his new average is going to be 44. A very simple technique. He had scored 44 runs, 84 runs, and out of which, because of which the 21st innings, his average is increased by 2 runs. So which means in the 21st innings he had scored 84, and in that innings whatever he scored extra is shared among all the 21 innings. So which means it's getting increased 2. It is shared as 2, 2, 2 for each innings. So for 2 into 21 is nothing but 42. So that 42 is becoming extra, which means from 84, when you remove that 42, that would have been his old average, which is 42 is his old average. And the new average is going to be that 2 extra. So 42 plus 2 is 44. This is new average. A very simple technique. So let's get started with the next question. A batsman in his 12th innings scores 63 and thereby increases the average by 2 runs. So the average of his score after the 12th innings is a very simple question, similar question to the previous question. The batsman in his 12th innings scores 63 runs, which means, and thereby increases average by 2 runs. So in the 12th innings, he scores 63 and his average increases by 2. So which means, so average is increased by 2 means, so his average, so 12th innings, he scores 63, but his average is increased by 2 for all 12 innings. So which means he had scored 12 into 2, which is nothing but 24, which is extra. So which is extra. So this 24 is extra. When I remove that, so his score is going to be 39 would have been his old average, because it would have been 53.43. So 53.43 minus 4 is 39. This would have been his old average, and his new average is increased by 2. This is his new average. That is going to be 39 plus 2 is nothing but 41. This is his new average. Again, the same question, same technique which is used in the previous question. Let's not waste any time. Let's get into the next question. The average weight of 8 men is increased by 1.5 kg when one of the men who weighs 65 kg is replaced by a new man. The weight of the new man is, again here, a very simple change. That question change here is, till this moment we had been seeing one person getting added or one innings getting added or anything. an extra person or an extra inning getting added. Here it is a replacement, that is the average weight of 8 men is increased by 1.5 kg when one of the man who weighs 65 kg is replaced by a new man. Common sense here, which very clearly says the person who is going out is replaced by a new man, because of which the weight of the average total average is increased. Total average of the people have increased, which means the person who is come in new should be more in weight compared to the previous person. Very simple. We know that is how averages works, because anything extra gets shared among the number of people. So here that means the new person should be having more weight than 65 kg, which is the old person's weight, is replaced by a new man. So the average weight of 8 men is increased by 1.5 kg. So it's increased by 1.5 kg for all 8 people. So for all 8 people, if it's getting increased by 1.5, so we know 8 into 1.5 would have got increased. For all 8 people, it's getting increased by 1.5. So in total, it is increased by 12. 8 into 1.5 is nothing but 12. So this 12 is brought in extra by the person who's come in new. He should have already had the actual average, which is 65. Along with that, he's having this 12 extra. That's why it's getting shared. If in case he's got only 12 in it, we know that the actual average is 65 and he is how much lesser than that? 53. That 53 would have shared among all the 8 people. Instead here it's very clear the person have come in new, because of which the weight is increased, which means the new person should be having something more than the actual person who's left. So the person who is left is having 65 in him. The new person, because of his entry, it is increased by 1.5 for all 8 people. So which means 8 into 1.5 gives you 12 extra along with the actual, which is 65. So gives you 77, the new person's weight. Let's get started with the next question. In an examination, a pupil's mark was 63 per paper. If he had scored 20 more marks in geography and 2 more marks for his history paper, his average per paper would have been 65. How many papers were there in the examination? Very simple. We know average is going to be anything extra that's getting shared, or anything, any value total which is divided among all the number of people present there. So if that is going to be the concept here, in examination, a pupil's mark was 63 per paper, which means he has got 63 on average. If he had scored 20 more marks in geography, which means if he had scored 20 more marks in one subject and 2 more marks for his history paper, which means 2 more marks in another subject, totally his average per paper would have been 65, which means his average for the whole semester or for this whole exam, that is the half yearly or quarterly, whatever it is, it would have been increased from 63 to 65. So we're not sure, they're asking you for the number of papers. So we are very clear that he had scored 20 marks in geography and 2 more marks in history, which means in total he has got 20 in one subject and geography maybe, and 2 in history. So it both gets added to the total only. So in total you would have got 22 more extra. So if you had got 22 more, this 22 gets shared among the total number of papers, correct? The total number of papers. We're not sure the number of papers, but they've told it is shared as 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. So if it is shared as 2, 2, 2, how many papers should it be shared so that we get the answer as 2? The average is increased as 2. So how many papers will 22 get divided among so that the average gets increased as 2? So we know 22 divided by what gives you 2 is the question. A very simple concept. So we know 22 divided by 11. So there are 11 papers. The 11 papers, among the 11 papers, the 22 gets shared as 2, 2, 2, 2, 2 each paper. So that's when we get the average as from 63 to 65. A very simple concept. This is how averages works. This is only my first session on averages. We also have another video which is my second session on averages. We'll get to know more concept about it in my next video. And I really like to thank everyone who have been watching patiently on this video. And I would like you guys to comment, share, and like this video. And please make sure that you guys are learning, as I said, and please be safe at your homes. And thank you so much for your time and patience. See you once again in my next video.